Some people strongly believe this is a third world war. Let's look at the first two world war, though it's called two world war, World War One and Two, but mainly it has happened in a specific location, Europe, like Kurukshetra war. It is not called as World War. It is a war happened in a place Kurukshetra. Likewise, the World War One and Two, which has happened in a specific region, where some of the countries supported some nations who participate in the war. But in reality, this is the real World War. Probably this is the first World War, or if you can say this is a third World War. But let's also understand what are the significance of the world wars, what are the consequences of the world war. Both after the World War One and Two, a lot of changes have taken place across the globe. Some of the countries which were prominent and relevant, had a lot of significance or superpower, have disappeared. Some of the countries have become irrelevant. Some of the countries have lost its significance, whereas some new powers have emerged. Some new people, new nations have become relevant. New business have become relevant. So now there is a change in dynamics basically post every crisis, major crisis when it happens. I would call this as probably the First World War or the Third World War. This crisis also is going to throw a lot of change in dynamics, the way nations behave, the way people behave, the way economies behave, the way business behave. So there are going to be a lot of changes in the dynamics. Probably some nations would lose its relevance. Some nations will become insignificant. Some nations can become a good superpower. So that's the possibility of change in dynamics what we are likely to have today. Now, what is going to happen to the overall economy in India? Let us look at. India has a tremendous opportunity, according to my view, to seize this opportunity, particularly. Mainly, basically, few things which are happening around us. One is, there is a loss of faith on China. China has been exporting, their major revenue comes out of their exports, which is mainly to Europe and US. Uh, Currently, there is a lot of trust deficiency developed, and according to my estimate, a lot of European and American companies would distance themselves dealing with China. And what are the opportunities for them when they distance themselves from China? What are the opportunities for them? They can go to some of the Asian countries, other Asian countries. They can go to some of the European countries. In Europe, again, it's not cheaper, other than Eastern European country. Then they can go to African countries or Brazil or Mexico or Russia. Again, there is a kind of a distancing with Russia today, has been there for quite some time for some of the European countries and as well as US in the past. Hence, uh, probably Russia is also a remote possibility. Whereas Brazil and Mexico and some of the African countries, there is for example, Ethiopia is coming out well. There is a possibility, Ethiopia and all that. Whereas on the Eastern Europe, they will take much longer time, is my estimate. Though they can provide alternate solution, but they will take much longer time to come back. Maybe another 3, 4, 5 years time they can take to come back. That's the probability I see from Eastern Europe, which leaves probably very few countries to fill in this gap. One is India, obviously, on the top of the list. Some of the Asian countries, smaller countries like Cambodia, Vietnam, Bangladesh, have done well in the recent past. Maybe to some extent Sri Lanka or Singapore, and if you take Mexico and Brazil, these are all the countries are likely to pitch in and take advantage. And India is well poised in leading the whole thing today. So hence, I see a lot of opportunity to come into India. Maybe first quarter, April anyway is washout for most of the corporations, and maybe first quarter there will be a major setback. They will not be able to have 100% back in the business. Maybe 25-30% can reach, but second quarter business can stabilize hopefully. So far, our government has controlled the corona exceedingly well. In fact, our prime minister has approved He's the best leader in the world today. US has not managed well, UK managed not managed well, some of the European countries have not managed well. So whereas India has managed well, the credit goes to the leadership and our Prime Minister in managing the entire situation today. What does it mean to us? So the whole world started, will start respecting, will start, believing. India is the place to come and do business. So that's a big message which is being conveyed. One side, the corona is being contained and controlled. On the other hand, there is a big message to the world that India can, India has been managed well. Hence, India is the place for them to come in. There is a huge opportunity I am looking at across all spectrum, whether it is a textile manufacturing or computer related ones, or software products, or hardware products, or automobile, or fashion equipments, even wealth. Wellness. There is a huge opportunity for us in moving along with the wellness products, including, for example, there is an opportunity for us to train more than a million nurses, or more than 2 3 million nurses, and maybe million doctors can be trained, and they can, serve the entire world in a very, very different way. So I see a big opportunity emerging for India at the end of H1. So H2 onwards, maybe October onwards, I see a tremendous potential for India to gain momentum. Maybe next 3 years, maybe the world have to, probably world has to trust India and work along with India. That's the opportunity I feel. Probably if we manage this well in the next 3 years time, starting from maybe Q2, probably we can achieve our 5 trillion economy much earlier than our estimated time. So this is the opportunity I see for India today. India is basically an entrepreneurial nation, but we need to have the right platform. So provided if we give the right platform, I'm sure the entrepreneurship will thrive in this country and can be the solution for the world and as well as for India. So that's the opportunity I see overall economic situation today. What it means for real estate, let us look at. Real estate, I would divide this into a few aspects. One is retail, the second is hospitality, third is commercial, fourth is residential, fifth, there are a lot of other allied one like co-working or co-living or warehousing. So these are all the new things which have come up. Let us go one by one. If you take retail, according to me, that will go through a long time and they will have a big suffering. It's not going to be easy for them to come back. Likewise, hospitality can go through some difficulties. I will not say those business will go through difficulties. The business will come back maybe sooner than what we expect. But some of the promoters can go through serious difficulties. So probably those assets can become very, very cheap. That's a possibility for a new investor who is, got a good cash backup. He can come and buy those assets and those business can do well. So I don't expect business to go down. Maybe in the short run, yes, maybe 6 to 12 months time, both hospitality and retail, there is a possibility of having a bigger problem. But that will hit the promoters, not the business per se. 12 months later, somebody else can buy. 6 months later, somebody else can buy and take this opportunity to take it to a bigger level. But some of the businessmen will suffer in that. Then this office space, I expect a huge demand coming, big time to India, because a lot of, American companies and European companies would look at setting up business in India, setting up offices in India. Hence, I expect so far office buildings have been doing well in the last 4 years. I expect that to go up further. But if you ask me whether the prices will go up, rental will go up, may not be, because people will be coming here for competitiveness. Hence, there may not be a sharp increase in the rental. Probably we should be happy even if it remains flat, or there could be a small dip on the rental expectation, but the demand will go up. Hence, that's going to create a huge opportunity to provide employment, and there will be a good demand. On the housing, again, I would divide this into two aspects. One is luxury housing and the mid-market and affordable housing. Luxury housing will take much longer time to come back. They've been struggling already. They will take little more time to come back, maybe next 3-4 years time for them to come back. I don't see that is coming back. Whereas on the other hand, affordable housing and mid-market housing, I see a huge opportunity. uh, I expect the demand to go up further because of few things. One is the new entrepreneurship which is going to be developed, and the number of entrepreneurs are going to be much larger, and new employment opportunities is going to be created because of the economic upliftment. And also there is a people will come back to have the safe investment. Indian generally considered uh, gold and homes as their safest investment, and woman leads the decision all the time. Now in the last 1 month, women would have become much more powerful. Wherever there was a little less powerful, they would have become much more powerful today. And I expect the decision to be on buying gold and homes. Today, I mean, gold also probably would have lost slight relevance. Hence, homes, there will be a bigger demand. Particularly in affordable and mid-market housing, I expect a huge demand coming up, which we already started seeing now. In the, I mean, last 30 days time, we have done some good sales. So there is a lot of expectation. So hence, I mean, I expect a good demand coming back. But if you ask me whether all the promoters, the current real estate developers, will cash on this opportunity, unfortunately, the answer is no. Like we have seen in retail and hospitality sector, some of the housing developers, promoters, but real estate developers also will suffer. Some of them will disappear. Some of them will, lose their relevance. Some of them will make this as a bigger opportunity and go very aggressive. They can grow very big. There are two scenarios. One is, there are three scenarios. One is demand going up, one is demand staying flat, demand is coming down by 20%. So, but what could happen in all the scenarios? The people who are staying firm, people who survive, they have a bigger opportunity to grow capturing this pie. So that's the opportunity I see on real estate. On the new age business like co-living or co-working and warehousing development, I see a tremendous opportunity there. People will look at investing into these areas. As the economy grows, they will come back and invest into this. So I see a tremendous potential for this. Coming back to crisis management, see, every crisis throws a new opportunity for anybody. If he's an entrepreneur, or if he's a businessman, or if he's a politician, or if he's a leader, every crisis throws a new opportunity. A lot of people manage the crisis very well, so they are called good leaders. But somebody convert this crisis into a greater opportunity for not only for themselves, for the environment, for the society, for the nation, for the world. So I expect our Prime Minister, so far he has managed exceedingly well. He could go on record becoming a greatest leader in this world by turning this crisis into a greater opportunity for India and for thus for the world. Thank you.